going on YouTube? My name is Yags, and today I'm going to be taking a look at 15 exciting games to look forward to close out 2022. It's been a pretty good year in gaming so far, and we're in for a stacked last few months of the year. There's going to be something new to play no matter which system you're on or genre you're a fan of, so without further ado, let's get into it. The beginning of September sees the release of The Last of Us Remake for PS5. The visual elements are definitely upgraded here, especially the environmental detail, and it also has some features that take advantage of the DualSense controller. I don't really know why they chose to remake this game again rather than the dozens of other PS3 and 4 titles they could have picked, but this should undoubtedly be the best way to experience The Last of Us that we've seen yet. If you have a PS5 and you want to relive this classic or play it for the first time, you'll have your chance on September 2nd. If you're on Xbox, Switch, or PC, you can just go on Twitter and enjoy how hilariously toxic the console wars are going to get once it drops. On September 9th, you'll be able to get your hands on NBA 2K20. Yeah, right. Stop buying these. I can save you $60 right now. Watch. Here you go. Boom. You're welcome. You just downloaded NBA 2K23 for free. Have fun. What you can get excited for on September 9th is Splatoon 3. After the crazy success of the second game, it's not surprising to see that Nintendo has really doubled down on this one with more maps, guns, and wild stuff in general. I think Splatoon is one of the more underrated franchises in gaming, and if you're a fan of shooters, I highly recommend checking it out. The matches are so quick and fast-paced, and the inking mechanic is so unique in this genre. You've probably never played anything like it, and now's your chance. Splatoon 3 launches exclusively for the Switch on September 9th, so if you don't have a Switch yet, you might want to think about popping over to Walmart and getting your girlfriend that early Christmas present that's totally and completely for her to play Mario Kart on. Yeah. So this one isn't really a new release, but it's still kind of a big one. Outer Wilds released back in 2019 and won multiple Game of the Year awards, and while reception for the game on PC was phenomenal, a lot of players on console had trouble getting into it. The frame rate wasn't great, and when I picked it up 6 months ago, I turned it off after an hour and vowed to come back once it got updated for next-gen consoles. That day is almost here, as Outer Wilds is getting a free next-gen update for PS5 and Xbox Series consoles that improves frame rate, visuals, and other performance features. It's a pretty unorthodox game, and it might not be your thing, but I'm definitely going to be giving it a try when this one drops on September 15th. Closing out September is Grounded, which is basically Honey, I Shrunk the Kids as a survival game. Grounded has been in early access since July 2020, and it's finally getting a full release 2 years later. I haven't had the chance to try this one out either, but reviews during the early access period were pretty good, and it'll be launching day one on Game Pass. They're apparently making a lot of little touches and tweaks, and you'll finally have access to the full story and the entire map, so if you're a fan of the survival genre and looking for something new to try out, this one might be for you. You can play Grounded in early access right now on both generations of Xbox consoles and the PC, and look forward to the full launch of the game on September 27th. Kicking off October is Overwatch 2, or Overwatch 1.5 as we're all calling it. The hype train is kind of slow to a halt for this one, as a lot of people have been quick to criticize how little Blizzard has changed for this new entry. I think people should get off their backs, honestly. I mean, do you guys even realize how massive these changes are? The night maps are now day maps. How is your credit card not in your hand already? Well, the good thing is that it doesn't need to be. Overwatch 2 PvP will be free to play and feature some brand new heroes and maps, reworks to existing heroes, and a new 5v5 format rather than 6v6. The drop down to 5v5 is probably the biggest change, and instead of having 2 tanks, each team now has 1 mega ridiculous tank. Luckily, it won't cost you anything to try this out, at least until the PvE drops at a later date. Until then, I think we should give Overwatch 2 a chance, because at the end of the day, it's a really fun gameplay formula that might just surprise us. You can experience 2016 deja vu for yourself when Overwatch 2 drops on all platforms on October 4th. The first Plague Tale game really snuck up on us, and it cemented itself as one of the better stealth adventure games of the past decade. Its dark themes and tense gameplay were backed up by good writing and cinematic moments, and the sequel looks to raise the bar even higher. A Plague Tale Requiem is packing an upgraded combat system, an expanded story, and even more production value. all while staying true to the thematic elements that made the first game a success. If you've been looking for a game in this genre and don't feel like rebuying The Last of Us for a third time, you can find this one on current-gen consoles, Switch, and PC on October 18th. Speaking of games that snuck up on us, the original Mario and Rabbids is another one that landed on some Game of the Year lists back when it released in 2017. It ended up delivering on gameplay that provided just enough depth while remaining accessible to Nintendo fans of all ages. I'm not a huge fan of the strategy genre, it's just not really my thing personally, but if you're a fan of these types of games, I highly recommend checking out Mario and Rabbids Sparks of Hope when it launches in mid-October. They're looking to expand on the overall scope of the game and take the story to outer space, and if lighthearted writing and colorful turn-based combat is your jam, you'll probably have some fun with this one. Mario & Rabbids Sparks of Hope launches exclusively on the Switch on October 20th. A game that has seemingly flown under the radar, or glided under the radar, is Gotham Knights, an open-world RPG set in the Batman universe. Maybe it's just me, but I haven't really seen too many people talking about this one, which is confusing because it looks kind of awesome. You play as Nightwing, Batgirl, Robin, and Red Hood in a reality where Batman died, placing the protection of the city on your shoulders. It even supports 2-player co-op, and if they can make this feel like a natural evolution of the Batman Arkham games that you can play through with a friend, it'll probably do pretty well. Gotham Knights is coming to PS5, Xbox Series consoles, and PC on October 25th. And don't worry, you can play through it solo, even if you don't have any friends like me. I know you were sweating a little bit there. If you can't get enough of open world games, or if you're just sad about that Batgirl movie getting cancelled, you might want to check this game out. And speaking of men on the internet that oogle over attractive female superheroes, oh my god, what a segue. That just fell right into my lap. The long-awaited third game in the Bayonetta series is finally dropping at the end of October. It's been 8 years since Bayonetta 2, so expectations are pretty high for the third entry, but the trailers did a good job of putting any worries to bed. It looks like more Bayonetta. It's over-the-top action sequences one after another for 15 hours, and then you're done. And honestly, that's going to be more than enough for fans of the series. The combat is slick and responsive, and it's throwing you all over the place. It's like the Doom Eternal of Japanese action games. If that sounds cool to you, or, if you're one of those aforementioned guys I mentioned before, Bayonetta 3 launches exclusively for the Switch on October 28th. Now some of you may be thinking, okay, Yigs, enough of the Nintendo games, bro. Only little kids play on Nintendo. I only play real games. And what else drops on October 28th? Modern Warfare 2. The most advanced Call of Duty ever. Even though we've said that the last 15 years in a row. I am actually excited for this one, to be honest. After Vanguard flopped relative to Activision's own sales projections, they're finally skipping 2023 and giving MW2 a full 2 years on its own. I think that'll result in this game being the most supported and content-filled Call of Duty we've ever seen. I'm sure it'll be the same old COD we know and love, but apparently it's on a new engine this time around, and it'll be accompanied by a Warzone 2 release in mid-November. I'll be covering this game a lot over the coming months on this channel, and if you're interested in getting in on the betas, those details are on your screen now. You can look forward to the full release of Modern Warfare 2 on all platforms but the Switch on October 28th. November sees the release of maybe the most anticipated game of the year, God of War Ragnarok. There are more than a few people that think 2018's God of War is the best game they've ever played, and I can see the argument. The new installment is picking up 3 years after the events of the first game, and it's looking to be bigger and badder in all the right ways with new weapons, enemies, and more. I don't really have much to say here besides, this looks awesome. It's a sequel to one of the best games ever made. If you have a PlayStation, you should probably buy it. God of War Ragnarok comes to both PS4 and 5 on November 9th. By now, your wallet might be a little tired. I get it. But we're not done yet. Because just 8 days after God of War, we're getting another Game of the Year candidate. You already know what I'm talking about. It's why you clicked on this video. You've been sitting through 10 minutes of my babbling to finally get to this. The game of the decade The generation, in fact. It's Goat Simulator 3. It's the follow-up to the smash hit.
Smash hits!
And it's so good that they entirely skipped Goat Simulator 2 because they do what they want and you're gonna buy it anyways. It's a game where you beat people up and destroy a town as a goat. November 17th, PS5, Xbox Series consoles, and PC, you know what to do. I wasn't the biggest fan of Pokemon Sword and Shield. I liked filling out the decks, but I just couldn't stand how laughably easy it was, and I walked away from the experience wanting more, wishing that Pokemon would really expand and evolve, no pun intended. Then earlier this year we got Legends Arceus, which I felt really did do that for the franchise. It was an awesome step forward for Pokemon, and now that it exists, I'm a lot more comfortable recommending Scarlet and Violet to you if you're a fan of classic Pokemon. I think Scarlet and Violet will be fun games that fans of the classic Pokemon formula will enjoy. Both games land exclusively on the Switch on November 18th. The start of December sees the release of the Callisto Protocol. I think I'm saying that right. Callisto, a survival horror game created as a spiritual successor to the Dead Space series. One of the lead producers of Dead Space set off to make a game that keeps you on your toes, and a focus on using the environment to both give you helpful tools and freak you out will be the defining elements of this game. We don't know much about the plot outside of us being on a ship with a bunch of infected humans, so we'll probably have to find a cure or just fight our way out or something. We'll have to wait and see, but if you're into horror games like this, you might want to check out the Callisto Protocol, dropping on all platforms but the Switch on December 2nd. Last but not least, the recently delayed High on Life is closing out the year. This one comes from Justin Roiland, one of the minds behind Rick and Morty, and actually the guy who voices both the characters. I'm a fan of his writing, so I'm expecting to enjoy that aspect of the game, and the gunplay looks really weird, but kinda interesting, honestly. It's not trying to be an endless open-world collectathon, but instead a more self-contained and linear single-player shooter, which I think is a good thing. We'll have to wait and see if the humor lands and the gunplay is satisfying, but if you're a fan of Rick and Morty or Solar Opposites, it might be worth checking this one out, especially because it'll be landing on Game Pass day one. High on Life is out on Xbox consoles and PC on December 13th. So that's 15 games to look forward to for the rest of 2022. Holiday season is usually the biggest time of the year for gaming, and this year is no exception. I think 2022 is shaping up to be one of the stronger years in recent memory, and a lot of different game genres are seeing releases over the next few months. I mean, look at all this. There's big name shooters, there's 2 new Pokemon games they're pretending are different from each other, there's the confusing remake we didn't really need, there's the token turn-based strategy game, NBA 2K14 is coming out for the 9th year in a row. They're all coming together like the Infinity Stones of modern gaming. It's perfect. I'm definitely looking forward to what the rest of this year has in store, and I'll be covering more than a few of these over the next few months. Thanks for stopping by, and if you enjoyed the video and you saw a game or two that interested you today, hit the like button and tell me what's got you excited in the comments below. If you find my dad jokes amusing and you're interested in seeing more of my content, you should probably hit the subscribe button. Until next time, this is Yags, signing off.